Okay, so I've put this off long enough. For months now, I've been thinking and thinking about this project, and I've always kind of waited. I've always thought, well, I'll wait until I have better gear, or wait until the weather's better, or I'll wait until I have a perfect time to film, or the perfect production method, or anything like that. But you know what? I think I need to just kind of get myself moving on this. So I'm gonna make one. This is my final practice video. I think this is either the third or the fourth. I don't remember which. But I'm going to read Hashire Melos. So in the real video, I'll explain what this book is and why it's significant. But I'm going to try and go through this page by page, read it in Japanese, and explain everything for people who are learning how to read longer things in Japanese. And I'm not even going to set everything up professionally. I'm still going to have Gokigen Panda over there. But let's get started. So let's start with the famous opening line right here. Meros wa gekido shita. So Meros is the name of our main character. This is set in ancient Greece. And so Meros is written in katakana, of course, and then wa gekido shita. So this is the famous opening line, gekido. So maybe you've seen that first kanji, geki. It kind of means extreme, something done to the extreme. And then do, maybe you've seen that for in the word okoru. So that's the word to get angry. So in this case, that would be extremely angry. So Meros was enraged. And then shita. So Japanese is a little unlike English, where sometimes emotions are used with the do verb, suru. And this is, of course, the past tense, shita. So he was angry, we would say this in English, but in Japanese, he is technically performing the act of being enraged, but it just means that he was very angry. Okay, so then next line. 必ずこの邪智暴虐の王を除かなければならぬと決意した. So there's quite a lot in this sentence. Let's start in 必ず. So maybe this is still in use in modern Japanese. And I should mention that this is written, let's see, I'll need to look this up in the final video, but this was written, I think, maybe in the 1940s, I think. So it uses somewhat archaic Japanese. It's a story set in ancient Greece. So some of this language is kind of old, or at least sounds old-fashioned, which is partly because of the period it was written in, but also because it's, set in the past. So kanarazu, this is actually still a very common word, so this means always or definitely. Kono jachibogyaku, so kano. Sorry, I read that wrong. Kano. So this is a little old, archaic. In modern Japanese, it would be sono, that. It's kind of the thing over there, this and that. And jachibogyaku. This is four kanji combination, and I've never heard of it outside this story. I think it's kind of if it was in common use, it certainly isn't now. So jachi. So the ja, maybe you've seen that before in the word jama. So it means kind of bad. Then jachi, I guess, looking it up, it means kind of chi means is it's also used, I think, in the verb shiru. You can see that bottom part is not usually included in the kanji anymore. So I think jachi is something along the lines of they do bad even though they know better, or they willingly do bad. And then bogyaku. So maybe you've seen that first kanji, bo is boryoku, that means violence. And then gyaku, that's in the word gyakutai, which means abuse. So all of those together means kind of a tyrannical, maybe someone who does very bad things. So jachibo gyaku no o. So this is still another kanji, common kanji. O is often used for kings, like o-sama is the word for king. So jachibo gyaku no o. So this is a tyrannical king. And then nozoka nakereba. So in this case, nozoku, it can mean to leave something apart, but I guess in this case it means to depose somebody. So let's see. Nozoka nakereba naranu. So naranu. This is actually a very important thing when you're reading older Japanese. So naranu means naranai. So in kind of archaic old Japanese, the nai form, negative form of the verb nai, becomes nu. So like tabenai becomes tabenu, Or what else could we say? Let's see, or kiru is kinu, I think. And so this is this is an archaic form of the negative form of the verb. And then, so nozoko nakereba naranai. So if he didn't do it, if he didn't depose the king, it would be bad. So this is still a common construction in Japanese today. And then shinakereba naranai, like you must do this. It won't be good if you do not do this. To ketsui shita. So ketsui, maybe you've seen ketsui before. Ketsui ketsu in this case means kimeru, or to decide on something. And then eat, which is kind of you've seen the word imi before. It relates to someone's will or their thoughts. So altogether, the sentence is, Kanara is certainly, or he decided that he definitely must depose this tyrannical king. So he knew that he would have to overthrow this king. So, okay, next sentence. Melos ni wa seiji ga wakaranu. So, Melos ni wa, so ni wa in this case, as for Melos, seiji ga, so seiji is still a common word today. Seiji means politics, but in this case, this is ancient Greece, so it's not really politics in the modern sense of parties and things like that, but just kind of matters of state, government, things like that, kings and elite people and things like that. So, ga wakaranu. So similar to naranu in the last sentence, wakaranu is wakaranai. So as for Melos, he didn't understand politics. He didn't understand the doings of kings and queens. So Melos wa mura no bokumin de aru. So Melos wa, of course, as for Melos, Melos is mura no bokumin. So mura means village, and bokumin. So I think I'll have to check, of course, in the real. I believe this is read boku. I think I'll have to verify that in the real video. So Melos wa mura no bokumin. So bokumin is just basically a villager, a townsperson. So Melos was, and then dearu. So dearu is an archaic form of the verb des. So just to be, the standard to be verb. It's still common in Japanese today, but it's only in sort of what I'd say is sort of highfalutin language, very formal or somewhat stuffy language. So des is dearu, and then the past tense is deatta, and then desho is dearo. So you can still find those in modern Japanese today, but using them in normal speech will get you looked at kind of funny. But in this case, in this story, it comes up very often. So Melos was a simple villager. Well, I guess just a villager, but it's kind of maybe implied that he's just kind of a bit of a hayseed guy who's not used to dealing with kings and queens. Okay, next. Fue o Fuki, hitsuji to asonde kurashite kita. So fue is cane, and then fuki, so fuku is to blow, but also means to like play any sort of what would you call this? An instrument that you would play like a flute or something like that. So fue o fuki. So in this case, we have the stem form of the verb. So it's used in I guess we call it kind of a list, something like that. Listing clauses. He blew his cane. The next, hitsuji to asonde. So hitsuji is sheep. Asonde, and then, so that is to play. Asonde kurashite kita. So kurasu is kind of like to live, to spend one's time somewhere, to kind of make a living or make a go of something. And then kurashite kita. So this means up until now, this was how he was living. He was just blowing his cane, playing with the sheep. Okay, next. Keredomo. Let's see, so where are we turn them? Keredomo, jaaku ni taishite wa hito ichiban ni binkan de atta. So let's see. So keredomo. So maybe keredo is the somewhat more formal form of the verb. Not the verb, the word kedo. That just means but. So keredomo means basically however. Jaaku ni taishite wa. So jaaku is kind of similar to jachi. So it means ja and then aku. Maybe you've seen aku in the word warui. So that means, so together that means kind of evil. And then something ni taishite wa. So something ni taisu wa is, so taisuru mono is concerning this or involving this. So So that would be, so altogether that would be concerning evil. Hitoichibai. So this is this is something I'll have to look up one more time when I make the real video. But hitoichibai means like extremely, so kind of with all one's heart. And then binkan. So this is another common word today. Binkan is kind of being sensitive to something, or being maybe more sensitive than most people about something. So hitoichibai ni binkan de atta. So concerning evil, he was more sensitive than most. He was his heart kind of burned with justice. He couldn't stand evil. Okay, next. Kyomime Melos wa mura o de shuppatsu shi, no o koe yama koe, 10里離れたこのシラクスの地にやってきた. So, okay. So let's go to the next. Kyomime. So actually, mime, I didn't... That's a word I should know. I forgot to look that up. I believe it means... So kyo, of course, means today. And then mime, I believe, until this point... no, maybe... what was it? I think maybe it's early in the morning, so I will look that up in the final video. Sorry. Meros wa mura o shuppatsu shi. So, early this morning, Meros... So, mura o shuppatsu. So, shuppatsu is another word that's still in use today. To leave somewhere. So, deru, that's to leaving, and then hatsu is kind of like for something to happen. So, mura o shuppatsu shi. So, he left the village. No o koe. So, no is... No means fields, or kind of like large open areas. In this case, koe means koeru. It means to kind of go over something. It can mean going over a number, like this is more than 100 or something like that. But it can also mean to kind of travel through somewhere, to move through somewhere. So he, he went through the fields, yamagoe, so same kanji with yama, mountains. So he went through the fields and mountains, 10里 hanareta. So juri, so ri is like a kind of an ancient, I think it comes from China. It's an ancient method of measuring distance. I don't remember exactly how long it is, but we could think of it as 10 kilometers, 10 miles, something like that. Hanareta, so hanareru is to be separated from somewhere, to be distant. So juri hanareta would be 10 miles or 10 distance. Then kono, so this is still the familiar kono word that you probably know if you've studied Japanese, but this is using that kanji actually. So in kind of older Japanese, it would actually use this kanji for kono. And then shirakus, I think this is Syracuse, what in English we would call Syracuse, so the name of the city. Syracuse no shi. So yes, this is the city of Syracuse. Ni yatte kita. So of course, yaru is a Japanese verb that's used in just a million different contexts, but in this case, it means he traveled this and then arrived, kita. So yes, so altogether, yes, it's early in the morning, he left the village, went through the fields and mountains, and came to Syracuse, which was 10 li distant. Okay, maybe that'll be enough for right now. So I think in the final version, I'm going to try and do about a page at a time. And then let's see, how many pages does this? This is a short story. So maybe we can make, I don't know, a 10-part video or something like that. We'll go through all of Hashire Melos, hopefully much more polished next time. And then we'll get a little more practice reading a work of Japanese literature. So, okay, well, if you have any feedback, please let me know. So, see you next time.